Israel and Iran exchanged volleys of missiles for the fourth day in a row. The war is only escalating despite mounting calls for restraint. And for more on these developments, Trent Murray with us from Tel Aviv. Thanks very much for being here. I have to begin by asking you to give us a sense of what's happening on the ground, where you are and what you've seen around you over the last few hours.
Well, those search and rescue efforts are continuing in the eastern suburbs of Tel Aviv, where we understand there was a major rocket impact in one of the latest barrages that we saw overnight. In the past 24 hours, we understand 8 people have been killed, many of them elderly people, including a 94-year-old woman, seemingly unable to get to a bomb shelter fast enough with those fast-moving Iranian missiles. We also know that the state of emergency here in Israel does remain in place. It is quieter out on the streets here in the city, I have to say. Many businesses are closed, schools are also shut, and a number of workplaces have told their employees not to come into the office or workplace today. Of course, we do know that for the past 4 days, the Iron Dome system here and the other air defences have been working to intercept these barrages of missiles, but seemingly some are making it through. And it is in Tel Aviv and also Haifa, Israel's third largest city, where most of the impacts are happening, including predominantly in residential areas where houses and apartment buildings are. So Israel's still very much on a war footing right now. They are anticipating further Iranian retaliation in the hours to come, but they are also saying they are stepping up their own military operations in the skies above Iran.
Right. Trent, if you can just, break down for us. We are aware of the measures being taken and the alerts that are sounded for the people to take shelter and what the arrangements have been like. But for those on the streets, because we've seen the aftermath on the streets as well, give us a sense of what it's like to be on Israeli streets right now and what the authorities have been saying about what lies ahead.
Well, the Israelis have a fairly complex and advanced home command system. And what I mean by that is everyone is following the advice of the army, generally through mobile phone alerts. If there is a sense that Iran is about to launch missiles, and they can often pick that up via satellite imaging, for example, they will send mobile phone alerts to all 10 million people here, warning them that it's time to get near their shelter. The challenge becomes the timing. Now, from launch in Iran to arriving here in Israel, it is only about 10 minutes. There is not a lot of time to run to your shelter if you don't have one in your own building. You can imagine if you are perhaps an elderly person or a mother with lots of small children, trying to get to your shelter can be a challenge. And of the 24 people in Israel that we have seen be killed since this war began with Iran, generally all of them have been people trying to reach their shelter on the street. We of course also know there is that multi-layered air defence system, but the Israelis are stressing that it is not perfect, that these are large barrages of missiles being fired at once, and some are inevitably making it through. So they are asking that Israelis continue to follow Home Command. We understand all of the reservists from the Israeli Home Command have been called up and are on standby to assist in these operations. But we have seen what can happen when people don't get to those shelters. Tragically, they are the ones being caught up in this, with these very fast ballistic missiles slamming into highly densely populated parts of Israel's major cities.
Right, Trent, we see things headed in a rather escalatory direction over the last 24 hours as well. So we're seeing that tangent in terms of the statements, in terms of the messaging, also in terms of what's happening on the ground. But if you can just piece down for us what you gather at your end from, the kind of developments that are taking shape, and also perhaps from the word that's been coming in from the authorities on what possibly the next few hours could look like. What is the strategy on part of Israel right now? Because in terms of the targets itself, that they have gone after in Iran, the sheer scale and the sheer significance of those targets as well, including the Defense Ministry, has been of utmost significance?
I think it's a very good question. I mean, the scope of the Israeli air operation is quite difficult to comprehend. They are targeting everything in Iran, from radar stations and air defense systems through to military bases, the headquarters of the Ministry of Defense, and of course those crucial nuclear enrichment facilities. That is their end goal in all of this, is to try and bring the Iranian nuclear research program to a halt, in order for Iran not to get its hands on a nuclear bomb. But in order to do that, they of course need to gain military supremacy in Iran and to avoid their aircraft being shot down. We are being told by the Israelis that they believe they now have total air supremacy over the western half of Iran and also the Iranian capital, Tehran, after they were able to suppress air defense systems with strikes. We are hearing in the past hour they have launched one of their deepest strikes yet, about 2,300 kilometres away from here in Israel, in Mashhad. That is very close to the border with Afghanistan. So, you know, they are clearly moving deeper in. And the rhetoric I am hearing from here in Israel is that they are showing no signs of stopping right now. They believe they have got the momentum. They are feeling emboldened. They are surprised somewhat at the lack of defence on the part of the Iranian Air Force and also the Iranian air defence systems. And they are saying that particularly in response to the attacks on civilian areas here in Tel Aviv and elsewhere, that Iran is going to pay an even heavier price for its action. So from where I am standing right now, I don't see this, I see this escalating rather than de-escalating. The suggestions are here that this could last days, weeks, but also there has been a warning from the National Security Advisor here to the government that it's thought Iran still has thousands of ballistic missiles at its disposal, and it is expected they will try to use them against Israel, putting additional strain over the coming hours and days on the country's air defense systems.
All right, we'll leave it there for the moment. Trent Murray, thanks very much for joining us. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.